First, before I begin, I just want to say how good you guys look. Thanks for taking time to attend today's event. Now, just a quick question, and raise your hands if you do know Couchbase or you have heard of Couchbase before. And just as I expected, I think I only saw one hand. Now, in today's session, I'll be giving you guys a sneak peek into the greatest secret in our industry, which is Couchbase. Now, today we'll be talking about how Couchbase helps enterprises enhance their app resilience and adaptiveness with our Couchbase mobile technology, as well as vector search capabilities. Just a short introduction of myself. I'm a solutions engineer with Couchbase. Before becoming a solutions engineer, I was a solution architect with one of the GSIs. And even before that, I was taking on data analytics role and business intelligence with the largest pharmaceutical company in the US. Now, today's unraveling of the industry's greatest secret comes in 7 parts. We'll first talk about the insights from our customers. Then we'll be helping you understand who are our customers, who is using Couchbase, and chances are you are a user of Couchbase today, you just don't know it yet. After we talk about our customers, we'll be diving in a little bit into the data management landscape, then getting into Couchbase mobile, vector search, and then we'll end things off with a very interactive demo before discussing what's next. Now, literally, day in and day out, it is my job to speak to my customers, hearing their engineering headaches, their engineering challenges, and also their engineering goals of the year. Now, once I've heard these things, we'll then think of a solution for them and figure out if Couchbase is a good fit for them. Now, as I'm speaking to my customers, what I'm hearing is that they want to deliver a great user experience. What this means is, whether I'm in the city center of Jakarta or whether I'm chilling by the beaches in Bali, I want the same great user experience. I want my application to be hyper-personalized. I want it to be available anywhere and everywhere. Now, when it comes to developing the application, they want to develop it in an efficient way. Now, what this means is leveraging the skills of your existing teams, whether it's the SQL query language or whether it's certain programming languages that they're familiar with, Python, JS, Java, .NET, whatever your developers are familiar with. Then when it comes to deploying the database, they want to make use of the different deployment options, whether it's on the cloud as a database as a service, or whether it's on-prem for your compliance standards, or even on the edge on your mobile devices or on your tablet devices. Now, when we think about the requirements from a database, there needs to be some legacy requirements in place. So this means that if you are currently using a relational database for certain things like transactions, like joins, they want this even though they are moving to a NoSQL database. Now, just a short history of Couchbase. We were founded in 2011. Today, we have got more than 1,000 employees. We're listed on the NASDAQ market, and we're available on all the cloud platforms that you can think of. AWS, Google Cloud, Azure, and many others. Now that we've talked about Couchbase at a very high level, let's find out who some of Couchbase's customers are. Now, across different industries, we've got some very great leaders doing good things with Couchbase, but I've pointed out 4 just because I think you might be already using them. Now, FICO is one of our customers in the financial services space. So chances are, if you took a Gojek or a Grab to today's venue and you paid using your card, that transaction came through FICO Falcon for transaction monitoring and fraud detection and fraud monitoring. Now, if you're not familiar with FICO, Emirates is another customer of ours. So if you're booking for a year-end holiday and Emirates is the airline of your choice, Emirates uses Couchbase for 2 different use cases. The first use case is for their pilots. Now, sometimes in the airport, sometimes nearing the runway, there is limited to no internet connectivity. Now, this becomes a problem for the Emirates pilots when they're doing their pre-flight checks. So with Couchbase deployed on their iPad devices, They can now make all the data mutations even in the disconnected environment, and when internet comes back on, the synchronization takes place automatically. The second use case is up in the sky. Sometimes there is no Wi-Fi, but if an air steward or air stewardess comes to you to sell you some duty-free items, that device is also powered by Couchbase. Now, if you're not familiar with Emirates, I think you'll be familiar with the next customer. Now, I would assume most of us here, if not all of us here, use LinkedIn. But if you don't know what LinkedIn is, there is no shame in that. It is a social media platform for professionals. Now, one would typically use LinkedIn to post certifications, maybe look for their first job. We hate to admit this, but we even use LinkedIn to stalk some of our colleagues. Now, LinkedIn was previously using Oracle, and they have chosen to use Couchbase since 2016. So right now, if you were to get connected with me on LinkedIn, or if you were to refresh your page on LinkedIn, that all comes through Couchbase. Now, Rakuten uses Couchbase in many different areas. As you know, Rakuten is the largest e-commerce in Japan. They use us for the e-commerce platform, advertisement delivery, and other teams. But one solution that I wanted to talk about was Rakuten Viber. Now, Rakuten Viber is like the WhatsApp, the Telegram of Philippines and Japan. And all of those features comes through Couchbase as their core database engine. Now, before I get into customers from the different verticals, there was one customer that I really wanted to dive deep into, and that is LinkedIn. Now, previously, LinkedIn was using Oracle. As you can imagine, every year when graduates are graduating from some of the top universities, not just in Indonesia, but around the world, not only are they just joining the workforce, they're also joining LinkedIn's community. They're joining LinkedIn's user base. And with that came scalability issues for LinkedIn because they were previously using Oracle. They started to evaluate other databases in the market, and I'm going to be very truthful with you. They evaluated MongoDB and Redis against Couchbase, and they have chosen to use Couchbase. Now, you would see from this slide that across different industries, we've got some leaders who are doing great things, from e-commerce down to financial services, technology and business services, and even my favorite gaming industry, the gaming side. Now, I'd like to tell my colleagues this, that every year, no matter how good or how bad the new FIFA game is, I would be the first one to pre-order that game. FIFA, F1, UFC, and even Sims is developed by Electronic Arts, and they are a customer of Couchbase. Now, if we were to take the gaming industry a little bit back in time, you might be familiar with Farmville and even Zynga Poker. I see some heads nodding. That means we're of a similar age. Now, all those games are developed by Zynga, and they have been a long-time customer of Couchbase as well. Now, if we were to take it back even further back, we think about MapleStory. Now, that's developed by Nexon, and they're also a customer of Couchbase. Now, we've heard so much about Couchbase's customers, but why do these enterprises choose to use Couchbase? Now, first things first, they choose to use Couchbase because of performance. Now, I wouldn't expose the secret for later, but you would see that not only is Couchbase a persistent NoSQL database, we come with integrated caching and many other services. Flexibility is another reason why customers choose Couchbase. They get the flexibility of a schema-less data model as compared to something very rigid in a relational database. Mobile and IoT applications is another reason why customers choose Couchbase. They're able to take their application to an offline setting, to a remote area. It can be the kampongs, where there is intermittent internet connectivity, and still have the application work fine. Last but not least, Couchbase is a multi-model data platform. We'll get deeper into this discussion in a little bit, but at a very high level, you're able to simplify a lot of your architectures by using Couchbase. Now let's talk about the data management landscape. Now typically when customers come to us, their data management landscape looks something like this. Initially, they would have started developing using a relational database like Postgres or DB2 or SQL Server. Now over time, management is thinking about the future of data. And that's when they think about having a NoSQL database, something that can provide you that flexibility, unstructured, semi-structured data, a distributed platform. But chances are, if you were to choose a database like MongoDB or the others here in this slide, you realize that you need a caching solution provider to help you to speed up your queries, to help you to improve your performance. Now, over time, you might think about other features in your application. Like maybe you intend to have AI capabilities in your application, you need a vector search solution. For full text search, you might think of Elasticsearch. For analytics, you might think of more solutions, and for mobile databases as well. Now, the next slide that I'm going to show you is not a picture taken in Jakarta, don't worry, but it looks something like this. Now, one of my teammates, he said, bro, bang, when customers come to us with these headaches, when an application has a problem, instead of troubleshooting the problem, they first have to find out which wire in this messy stack is causing the problem. And that is a problem by itself. Now, what this really results in our customers is an increase in cost. Infrastructure costs, licensing costs, operations costs, integrations costs, and the most important one that is often forgotten is management costs. So with that, Couchbase, now we were founded a lot later than all of these databases. We founded in 2011. But with that, we identified the gaps that were in these databases, and we've filled in these gaps. Now, typically, I don't like to break away from my presentation to talk about something else, but let's discuss how Couchbase got its name. Now, I know it's called Couchbase, but no, we don't sell couches, we don't sell sofas, and we're definitely not based on our sofas. Now, Couchbase came as a merger of two different companies, CouchDB and Membase. CouchDB is a JSON document database, and Membase is a caching solution. So really, at our core, Couchbase is a NoSQL database with integrated caching. Now, over time, we heard from our customers that they like SQL, they like SQL. So that's when we brought in SQL into a NoSQL database. We provided full text search and vector search capabilities. Now, I'm not going to go into every single one of our service, but another tool that I would bring up is mobile database and replication. This means that if you choose to deploy your database on mobile, Couchbase handles the synchronization of data for you. And if you choose to do an active-active cluster setup, so two different Couchbase clusters in two different data centers, that replication tool comes out of one license. All of these services come out of the box with one Couchbase license. Now, what I also don't like to do is to make comparisons, but sometimes it is essential to do so. So you would see here that where some databases fail in some categories, resulting in gaps, Couchbase has filled in those gaps for you, ranging from cache all the way down to queries, even full text search and vector search capabilities. Now, you might be wondering, Ben, Couchbase has got so many different services. How does the database keep all of these services synchronized with real-time data? And that's through what we call in Couchbase called DCP, or Data Change Protocol. Now, anytime a data mutation is made, whether it's an insert, an upsert, an update, a delete, it is all tracked by DCP, Data Change Protocol. And all of the services that we have are consumers of DCP, meaning they get the real-time updates synchronized to all the different services. Now, I would like to give everyone here a 3-second exercise just to stay alert. Let's try to spot the difference between a SQL query statement in the middle and a Couchbase SQL++ query statement on the right-hand side. I'll give everyone 3 seconds to do it, and if you do spot the difference, let's see. Show of hands. Yep, I see this in the audience. Chances are, if you had done this exercise, you would see that there is absolutely no difference, and that's because Couchbase uses the SQL query syntax on a NoSQL database. Now, on the other hand, here is a query from one of our competitors, MongoDB. Now, if you're not familiar with MongoDB, I can reassure you it is normal to find this as gibberish. It doesn't really make much sense, and a lot of times when I'm speaking to my customers who are not trained with MongoDB and they want to get adopted with MongoDB, understanding the query syntax becomes their biggest challenge. There is a huge learning curve that they first have to go through, even before querying the data. Now, one area which Couchbase thrives in, especially when talking about app resilience, is Couchbase Mobile. Now, how Couchbase Mobile Stack works is something like this. At the top here, we have Couchbase Capella. It's our fully managed database as a service. Now, don't worry if you're not familiar with these terms. Later on, we'll be doing a demo. And in the demo, I'll be doing it all from scratch together with you. In the middle, you have Couchbase App Services. It is the middleman that manages the synchronization between Couchbase Capella, our fully managed database as a service, and Couchbase Lite, which is a full-feature, lightweight mobile database that can be embedded in your application. Now let's think about why this is important. Right? Why is a mobile technology, a mobile solution for a database important for my application? Now when the internet connectivity is up and running, all is well. But as soon as you go into the kampongs, or maybe you decide to go out into the rural areas of Indonesia, internet connectivity becomes unstable. Your users start to see that spinning rainbow icon that no one likes. Now, once internet connectivity is down, this results in application downtime and business downtime. And that is why a mobile solution for your application is very important. Now with Couchbase, we can be deployed on the cloud, we can be deployed on-prem, on the edge as a data center, and even down to your mobile devices. Now this obviously extends way past mobile devices. It goes to Android tablets, iPad tablets, and even IoT devices. Now, this is a good segue into my demo, and we'll be talking about Couchbase's latest features, which allows customers to bring their AI applications or AI capabilities to their applications. And that is through vector search. Now, you might be familiar with vector search, the term of vector search, you might not be, but let's take it from scratch. Now, to take it from scratch, let's think of some use cases of vector search which you are currently using in your applications today. Now, if you were to go into one of the e-commerce platforms, and you see that the e-commerce platform has already provided you with a summarized user review based on 1,000 reviews, that summarized review is an example of an AI capability within the application. Now, obviously, your user, you and I, we could read all the 1,000 reviews, but this would not help us to understand what the total sentiment is, and it would take a long time to read the 1,000 reviews. So that is why some applications, especially in the e-commerce space, choose to generate summarized reviews. Now the next area is classification. So using vector for vector, you're able to actually make some associations and do classification and anomaly detection. The third use case is semantic search and hybrid search. So this means I'm taking a picture of Pak Hanato's amazing pair of shoes, and I'm trying to look in the e-commerce platform for this pair of shoes. Now, what semantic search does is to say, this is a pair of amazing, classy black shoes. I'm not going to give you a pair of ski boots. I'm not going to give you a pair of flip-flops, because based on vector search, I've identified that it's a pair of classy black leather shoes. The last use case, which you are already using today, is AI-powered chatbots. Now, if you were to go into ChatGPT to ask ChatGPT something about specific domain knowledge, ChatGPT is going to say, sorry pal, I don't have the information for you. You might want to look it up on the web. Now, this is not what organizations want. Therefore, organizations would choose a vector database to store all their internal documents, whether it's images, PDFs, or even text. So if a user comes into their website, and goes to their chatbot to ask something very specific to that organization, the chatbot is then trained with domain-specific knowledge. Now, how does a vector database come into play, and how does Couchbase serve as a vector database? Within Couchbase, you're able to store vector embeddings. So if you have got images, you have got text, you have got PDFs, you can pass it through an embedding model of your choice, and what you get as a result of that is a vector embedding. Now, with the vector embedding, you can store this into Couchbase. Couchbase will create the vector index for you, and you can run all your vector queries on Couchbase. Now, this is how Couchbase acts as a vector database. So you never need a separate database for vector or for AI capabilities. We've got proven speed and flexibility with our customers like LinkedIn. We have vector across all of our products, whether you're thinking about deploying the database on the cloud, on-prem, or even down to your edge devices. Now, we've got a broad set of capabilities as we have discussed today. Vector databases and vector search capabilities is just one component of what Couchbase is able to do. We also provide you with things like full text search, key value operations in the form of integrated cache, queries in the form of SQL syntax, replication between mobile and data centers, and many more. And last but not least, when we think about AI capabilities, we need integrations with our ecosystem partners. And Couchbase has existing ecosystem integrations with LangChain and Llama Index, the most popular ones. Now, Couchbase is the first vendor, is the first principal in the industry to announce that we have vector capabilities across our products from the cloud all the way down to the edge. And with this, let me explain to you how Couchbase Capella looks like. This is Couchbase Capella. It's our fully managed database as a service. And you would see here that in the interest of time, I created the database beforehand, but in no time I would show you there is absolutely nothing in there. Now let me take you through how easy it is to set up your first Couchbase Capella cluster. You simply click Create Database on the right-hand side. You select the project you want to create your database in. You would choose the cloud service provider of your choice, whether it's Google Cloud, Azure, or AWS. You can choose the region, like Jakarta. You select how many servers you want. And this is really interesting because you're able to select many instance types. You're able to select the number of servers that you want. You're able to configure your storage as well as your IOPS. And once you're happy with this, you can go ahead to click Create Database. Now again, I've created one ahead of time. It is called DevOps Event. This database is hosted in AWS Jakarta, and I would simply open this. Now you would see on the left-hand corner here, while it's retrieving the metadata, that there are no buckets found. This database is completely empty as of right now. Now another thing which I had done was to create the app service. Now remember again that the app service does the synchronization of data for you. It's the middleman that facilitates the synchronization between your Couchbase Lite database and Capella database. And in here, no app endpoint is created, so we'll be doing this from scratch. Starting off with our database. I'm going to click Create. I'm going to select a new bucket. I'm going to name my bucket. I'll just name it as Demo. I'm going to allocate it some memory, and I simply click Create. That is how easy it is to create a bucket within Couchbase. Now that the bucket has been created, you would see it on the left-hand side, I'm going to create my app endpoint. Click Create App Endpoint. I'm going to give my app endpoint a name. I'm just going to name it 24th July App Service. I'm going to link it to one of the buckets which I had created. just give this some time. This internet connectivity is not too good. Hence the need for a mobile solution. Okay. So it says July app service. Perfect. And create my app endpoint. That is how easy it is to create your app endpoint. Now again, I'm doing this from scratch. Could not create. Sure. Let's go in and take a look. Gonna refresh this. Okay, no worries. I'll just do it again. Demo, I'm linking it to one of the buckets, and I'm clicking Create App Endpoint. Right, so now my app endpoint has been created, and there are a couple of things that I want to do. I want to create an app user, and I want to retrieve the endpoint URL to be then connected to my mobile device. So I will go into my app endpoint. It is currently initializing. Resume the app endpoint. Perfect. And now we'll be creating an app user. Now an app user represents every single one of us, so I'll just be creating one under my name. Ben, and for my password, right, extremely secure. And create my app user. Now, once this is done, I can then retrieve my app endpoint URL from the Connect tab. It is here. I simply copy it. And before I get into today's demo, I first want to take everyone through what I'm demoing. Right? Now, today, working for Couchbase, I'm pretty busy, so I don't have as much time to play games. So when I have the time at work and I'm tasked to develop a demo for an event like today, what I choose to do is to develop a game. Now, for today's game, it is going to be a trivia quiz. Now, how many of us here are familiar with what a trivia quiz is? Okay. So for those of us who are not familiar with trivia quizzes, it's a very fun quiz, right? I go into the quiz, I answer a few questions, and we see who gets the most questions correct. So what I'm going to simulate is a trivia quiz, but I also want to incorporate some AI capabilities that we had talked about, namely classification. So a user is able to come in, he would upload an image of food, like a pasta, the Taj Mahal, like a monument, or a flower. What happens next is that Couchbase would do the embedding and also storing the vector for a vector search. Now once this is done, the user would be going into the application. More specifically, he will be going into the quiz, but based on what image he had inserted, he would then be redirected to a food quiz, a monument quiz, or a flower quiz. And once all of that is done, that result would be then uploaded or inserted into Couchbase Capella. So this is Android Studio. It is how developers develop simple games, more specifically apps in Android emulators. So with the app services that I had created, I'm simply going to paste it in here, hit save, and you would see here that my credentials have been put in. Now what I'm going to do next is to run the application. Now when running the application, it's going to take some time to first start up the Android device. The next thing it's going to do is it's going to boot up that application which I'm running. So you see here the application comes up, it's an Android device. And the name of my application is Base Quiz, like Couchbase Quiz. Base quiz comes up. Now within this quiz, I'm able to put in my username and insert some pictures. So let me show everyone what I'm going to do next. I'm going to go to my files, and in here there are currently no images. So what I'll do is I'm going to select some images, namely flowers, Taj Mahal, and the red pasta. And it's going to be uploaded into my Android emulator. You'd see here, Taj Mahal is here, pasta is here, and the flowers are here. Now what I'm going to do next is to enable the sharing because I want to share it with my application. Taj Mahal, share that. Red pasta, go ahead and share that as well. And finally, the picture of my flowers, and I'll hit share. Now all that is good. I can go back into my application. Now the first quiz that I want to run is on food. So what I'll do is for my username, I'll put Ben Food. I hit enter. I'd select an image. And I'm going to select the red pasta. So you see here in the logs, I know you're pretty far away, but what Couchbase did is that we have identified this image, we have transformed it into a vector, and based on my similarity searches on the existing database, it has been classified as food. Now when I hit start, I'm actually get sent to a quiz. Now this quiz is highly personalized for you. Now, what is the Indonesian traditional rice dish that is served with various side dishes? Is it nasi goreng? Is it satay? Is it gado-gado? Or is it soto? Nasi goreng. My favorite is the Balinese sauce, raw chili sauce made out of shallots and lemongrass, and that is my favorite sambal mata. It's not gochujang, it's not Thai chili sauce. Now for skewered meat dish, everyone knows this. It's going to be satay, that's right. Now, Indonesian salad. Gado-gado, spot on. And finally, what is the traditional Javanese soup dish? It's not mushroom soup, most definitely not. It's not tom yum, it's actually soto. Now this user has completed the quiz and he's got a 5 out of 5. Now if I were to go back into Couchbase Capella and open up the database, go to my Documents tab to view my documents. Now I'm going to expand the limit so I can view all the documents. You would see here that this particular document that I'm opening up is Ben Food. He submitted the quiz for food and he scored a 5 out of 5. So when internet connectivity is good, synchronization takes place immediately and automatically. Now what I'm going to do next is in my application, I'm going to do my second quiz. This time, it's going to be Ben Monuments. So instead of uploading or selecting an image of food, I'm going to select an image of the Taj Mahal. And you would see here, if I were to scroll down in the logs, it says that based on the vector that has come in, I've identified that the vector of the image is classified as monuments. So when my user is going to hit start, he would no longer see the quiz on food. Instead, he would see the quiz on monuments. And in this case, the question is, which famous monument in Jakarta is known as the National Monument of Indonesia? And that is the Monas. Now the next question is, which iconic landmark in Jakarta is the largest mosque and one of the largest mosques in Southeast Asia? Yes, that is absolutely right. Now, for my next 3 questions, I'm going to get them wrong. Now, it's not because I don't know about these quizzes, or it's not because I don't know about these monuments. I want to run some queries later, so I want to get a lower score. So it's going to ask me for the statue in New York. By right, it should be the Statue of Liberty, but I'm going to choose the Eiffel Tower. UNESCO Heritage Site in India, I'm not going to select the Taj Mahal. I'm going to get this wrong as well. It's asking me for pyramids in Egypt. I'm going to get that wrong as well. Now, what I just shown you is the capability to do vector search on your device to have a hyper-personalized application. Now, what happens if the internet goes out? Now, the best way to simulate this, and I would say it's a rather daring of me, is to turn off the Wi-Fi. Now, this simulates a user using the application, going into the kampongs or going to an area where there is no internet connectivity. I'm going to reattempt the quiz, this time being Ben Flowers. Hit enter. Next thing I'm going to do is to select an image, but this time instead of monuments, instead of pasta, it's going to be an image of flowers. And again, in the logs, you would see that this image that I've inserted, based on vector similarity search, it has classified it to take on the attribute of flower. So if I hit start, it would actually redirect me to the flower quiz and not the food quiz, not the monument quiz. So let's take a quick guess. What is the national flower of Indonesia? Spot on. Next question is, now for my gentlemen in the audience, let's try not to get this wrong. Which flower is commonly associated with Valentine's Day? That is the rose. Very good audience today. Now, there are going to be a couple more questions, but I'm going to breeze through these, okay? Which flower is known for large, colorful petals? And that's going to be the sunflower. It's not potato, definitely not. Which is the national flower of Japan? Cherry blossoms. And for my last question, I want to get this wrong. So this means I'm getting a score of 4 out of 5. Which flower is used for perfumes? It should be jasmine. I'm going to choose wheat. Now if I hit finish, you would see that my score is 4 out of 5. Now this entire time, my application has got no internet connectivity whatsoever because my laptop, the Wi-Fi has been shut off. What I'm going to do now is to simulate the internet coming up for just a little bit. I'm going to turn on the Wi-Fi, and once that is connected, what's happening under the hood is that Couchbase Lite, the mobile database, has identified that there is internet connectivity and synchronization takes place back to Couchbase Capella. So if I go back to Couchbase Capella and I do a quick refresh on the documents that I have, you would see here that there are 3 documents, one for Ben Monuments, one for Ben Food, and the quiz I had attempted when I was offline, which is Ben Flowers. Now this really showcases Couchbase's vector search on the mobile device and also the capability to use the application and have application resiliency even when there is no internet connectivity. Now I'm going to take this one step further to actually query some data from Couchbase to show you how familiar it is to you and for your developers. Now what I will do is to actually open up Capella IQ. Now Capella IQ is Couchbase's take on AI. What we have done is to create a chat GPT which is trained with Couchbase's documentation. So what I'm going to do now is to actually put in a request in natural language. So if you see here on the right, I'm actually putting in a request in natural language to say, select all documents where score is greater or equals to 4 and sort in a descending order. Now you don't need to be technical in order to write this statement. Your business analyst, your data scientist can go right ahead and query data from Couchbase even though they are not trained with SQL. With the wave of the wand, what Capella IQ does is that it analyzes your schema, it takes into account the natural language request that you had put in, and it gives you a sample of the query. Select D from default, where score is greater to or equals to 4, order by descending order, which is exactly what I had wanted. Now I'm going to run this, And you would see in just a little bit that this request actually throws an error. It says here, no index is available and no index was found. Now, this is the kind of capability that Couchbase is very similar to a relational database. You need an index in order to run a query. Now, what Couchbase has done is to also provide you with an index advisor. So instead of figuring out the index by yourself, you can simply click on the build suggested icon. And what that would do is to trigger Capella to build the index for your query. So once that is done, it is done now, I can rerun that query again. And let's take some time to actually look at the query. If you're familiar with SQL, chances are you know what exactly this does. It's selecting all the documents from my database, and you're giving it where conditions, and you're also ordering them. You're also sorting them. Now you'd see here in the results that it comes out as a JSON document format, but if you're more familiar with viewing your results in tables, in rows and columns, you can always click on the table icon here, and you would see that based on the query which I've put in, there are two documents that come up. The document on monuments, which I scored lower than 4, is omitted. And even with the documents that have come up, I'm sorting them on descending order. And that is the power of Couchbase Capella. So coming back to my slide deck here, what are some of the key takeaways from today's demo? We have seen vector search capabilities on the edge, bringing AI capabilities to your application. We have seen how Couchbase Mobile allows for app resiliency. It allows you to take your application to a remote area. It allows you to take your application to an area which is disconnected, have it work fine, and synchronize the data for you whenever there is internet connectivity. We have seen SQL++ and how familiar it is to us and for our developers. And we've also seen how Capella IQ helps us to have the ease of use when generating queries. Now, before I wrap up today's presentation, I want to talk about what's next. Where can we go from here? Now, within Couchbase, we've got a free trial of Capella, and that can be accessed via cloud.couchbase.com. But if you're too lazy to type out that URL, I've got a QR code on the screen, so you can take some time to scan that QR code, and it will take you to that site. And with that, I've come to the end of today's presentation. If there are any questions, our booth is right out that door, and the first one on the left. Thank you very much.